Hello internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture. And what we're doing on this channel is we dye yarn, we talk about fiber, about skeins of yarn, about hand dyeing. And today is another episode of the Dye Pan where we are going to do a color inspired by a cookie. So I recently purchased 108 Asian cookies by Kat Lieu, and I really like those cookies. So I thought, why not use the super beautiful colors of those cookies to see if we can translate it to yarn. So today we're going to be doing the Lychee sugar cookies, and they are super cute and delicious. So let's get into this. So let's make cookies with extra fiber. Yes, I think I'm hilarious. Okay. So since I'm doing a cookie inspired by the Lychee cookies from Kat Lieu, 108 Asian cookies, I chose soft colors, and I really want to do more of her cookies because there are some of them that has so much colors. It's just super fun to see, and I want to see if I could make them. But I wanted to try out the lychee cookies because I've made them and they are delicious. So we're going to be using soft tan, ballerina pink, and we're going to be using peach blush. You might be wondering why peach blush. It's because I want to speckle with it, and the speckle will be closer to that strawberry jam on top of the cookies than the rest. So I will be using soft tan and Berliner pink in very low quantities because I don't want them to be super, like, I don't want this to be intense. I want it to be more on the soft side of it. So first thing we're going to do is our stock solution. What is a stock solution? This is the wet version of our dye. So it's adding the dry powder to liquid to create the concentrate of your dye. When you are using a scale, always make sure that your scale is at 0 before adding anything. And before doing anything, we need to make sure that we have proper a mask and a respirator to make sure that we don't breathe in any of the fine particles, because we only have one pair of lungs, so please protect them. Okay, let's get into this. So the soft tan we're going to be using more of it than we're going to be using the ballerina pink, because that's what I said and that's what I want. Okay, we're good with this one, and we're going to be doing the ballerina pink. So always make sure to zero out your scale before doing anything. There's a little bit too much of it, so there we go. Amazing. I love it. Okay, let's add the water. Perfect. I don't need this anymore. I don't need my respirator anymore. I'm going to need to stir my stuff over here. Perfect. And I like to do my stock solution in order of which I'm going to be using them. So this is why, because if I don't, I know I will make mistake. So this is why I always have my jars in front of the, like, I know here it's very self-explanatory which color is what. However, in my brain, I need to do this so I know that I'm in the right order. So you can do whatever you want at home. This is just my 2 cents. So we'll get into the dye pad. Now we are ready to dye the skates, and we're going to be using my classic socks, which is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. For citric acid wise, I usually like to do 1 teaspoon per skein of yarn, because the rule of thumb is 1 tablespoon per pound, so 454 grams of yarn or fiber. And here we have 4 cups of tap water at room temperature. And I'm going to be adding the first color now. There we go. Where's my spoon? Here, perfect. And we're going to be doing this color slightly different than what I usually do. And I'm going to show you why in 1 second. Just going to turn on this before I forget. So usually I would do just like twist and everything. But right now I'm doing this because I want the color to sort of have those brown edges like a cookie would. So I should have put my gloves on. Oh well, that is life. Okay, perfect. So that way you can already see what I mean by we're going to have those golden edge. So we're going to let this on here for about 10 minutes, the time that the color will strike, and I will be right back. Okay. Come on, gloves. Now it will be time to add the second layer, which is where you will see my usual twist and turns. Let's do this. And I'm not too worried to see that some of the color will go back into the water because it's a very small hint of it. So it will be fully reabsorbed, and we shouldn't have any concern for the pink. Perfect. There we go. It kind of looks like Neapolitan ice cream. So I'm going to let this strike the yarn for about 10 minutes, and we're going to come back and I'm going to see what I want to do different. Because I don't know if I'm going to retwist the skeins to see if I want to do the speckle, or if I'm going to be adding the speckle right now, like on this side. But I'm going to most likely retwist it. So I'll be back. Okay, and we're back. And I think what I'm going to do is what I said, is that I'm going to retwist the skeins. There we go. And I do want to keep some of the white because I feel that the lychee component is white, like the meat inside the lychee is white. I don't know if meat is the proper word because usually meat refers to muscles, right? Anyways, the inside of the fruit is white, so I want to keep some white component to this yarn. There we go. Okay, so now that I've moved around and I've exposed those portion of the skeins, I'm going to be speckling. But before doing any speckling, what do we need? A respirator. So like I mentioned every time, you don't have to have this specific one. Just make sure it's something that will make sure that you won't be breathing fine particles. So because we only have one pair of lungs, so we need to protect them. Okay. I feel like if I say it enough, people will listen. And it will stick in their brain. Could be wrong. Okay. Let's do the speckling. Hey. Et voilà. There we go. And like the peach blush um, will create this sort of strawberry jam color to me for me. We're going to be able to keep some of those sharp speckles, and some of the color will spread a tiny bit, which is the effect I'm going for with this color. So that's what we want. And now what we are doing is we're going to let this cook for half an hour. Perfect. There we go. So we're going to let this cook for half an hour and we're going to come back to see where we're at. I'm pretty sure we'll be completely fine. Okay, so I'm just going to lower down a little bit the heat because I see some bubbles coming up. We want the temperature bit to be between 85 to 95 Celsius. So when you start seeing bubbles, lower it a little bit your temperature because we don't want to be to the boiling point. We want to be slightly underneath the boiling point for the color to properly settle and strike and that and do all of its glorious chemical stuff bounding and everything. Okay, so yeah, so in 30 minutes we're going to come back. We're going to see where we're at. We're probably going to be turning off the heat completely and letting it cool off completely before washing off any excess dye because we have some speckles, so we want to make sure that we remove any clumps of dry powder that might be there. So I will see you in 30 minutes. Okay, so yeah, so we do have some clump of dry powder over here, so that will be removed once we wash off excess dye later. But we're good. Everything has been absorbed, struck, everything is good. So we're just going to turn off the heat and we're going to let it completely cool off before washing off any excess dye, like those little clump here and there. So I will see you then. Let's wash off the excess dye from our cookies. I'm very excited to see what it looks like fully dried because so far I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Okay. And we have absolutely no colors left in the pan, which I'm always happy when that happens. So, okay, we are going to let this soak a tiny bit just so we can make sure that the little clumps of dry powder like is removed basically. So I'm just going to let this soak a little bit and we are going to see what happens in about 10 minutes. So see you in a bit. And we have no bleeding. I was expecting no bleeding, not gonna lie. I just wanted to make sure that we were removing those little dry spots. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the spin dryer to remove all excess water. And after that, we are going to let it dry overnight. So we will see the final result tomorrow. And here's the final result for dyeing the lychee frosted sugar cookies from Kat Lieu from her book 108 Asian Cookies. And I am super pleased with how it turned out. It's exactly the vibe I was going for with like the golden edge for the cookies, and it also kind of resembled this cookie, which is kind of funny, with the speckle that represent the raspberry jam and the frosting, which is this very beautiful subtle pink. And I'm super excited I was able to do it. This is quite exciting. I'm super happy with this. Zoe, please. I did a super nice setup. Please don't mess it up. Okay? Thank you, Mrs. So yes, I'm super excited. I did exactly the color I had in my brain, and it's always nice when you get to do it on the first try. I think this is where, like, sometimes you doubt yourself, but for this, I had a vision and I would have been so disappointed if I didn't manage to do it. But I did it, so this is quite exciting. I do recommend those cookies. If you are interested, I can put a link in the description box for the recipe book so that you can take a look. I do believe that she is trad published, so I don't think it matters where you purchase the book from. So, yeah, because she's in bookstores, so, but doesn't mean anything. Anyways, I recommend the book. It's super nice and they're delicious. They're not too sweet. They're just a very sweet balance of flavors. So this is very fun. If you've liked the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye!